Prodol. Live from Midland, Odessa, and Big Spring, this is ABC Big 2 News at 11:30.
Developing now at 11:30, you're taking a live look at Washington, D.C. this morning, where President Biden has ordered flags at the White House, federal buildings, and military posts be flown at half-staff for the victims of the deadly mass shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde. Good morning, everyone. I'm Matt Fonts. We're learning new details on the second deadliest school shooting in American history. 19 children and 2 teachers gunned down just days before their summer break. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more.
Gripped with grief and worry, families in Uvalde, Texas, struggling to make sense of the massacre at Robb Elementary School. Overnight, distraught families pacing the grounds at the Civic Center, waiting hours to identify their children. The attack unfolded Tuesday morning shortly after 11:30. According to law enforcement, the suspect, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, shot his grandmother in the head and then crashed his car outside of the school. That triggered a response from a Uvalde school police officer, who was then shot by the suspect. Authorities say the suspect, who was wearing body armor and armed with an AR-15 style rifle, then went into the school, into a classroom, barricaded himself inside, and opened fire on teachers, students, and responding officers.
We just hear all kinds of gunshots going off, like non-stop.
Ramos fatally shot by police. 2 officers were injured in that shootout, both expected to survive, as is Ramos's grandmother.
Did you notice that he was growing disturbed? Was he becoming upset? Was
he was very quiet. He was very quiet.
Authorities say the suspect legally purchased the 2 rifles 6 days after his 18th birthday, which was 2 days before the shooting. He also purchased body armor. Investigators are also trying to piece together a motive and are combing through social media posts allegedly made by the shooter. President Biden has ordered all flags on federal land to fly at half-staff in honor of the victims. He also expressed anger over the senseless violence.
I had hoped when I became president I would not have to do this. Again, another massacre. How many scores of little children who witness what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake? They'll live with it the rest of their lives.
And here in Uvalde, grief counselors on hand to talk with students and parents, and with several still in the hospital, there are calls for emergency blood donations. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Uvalde, Texas.
Now, a mass was held yesterday following the horrific mass shooting. San Antonio Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Siller officiated the services. He says he will do anything he can to help.
That each life is precious, that every one is a piece of art, and that there are people, brothers and sisters, people who need help. We need to help them so that they will not destroy life.
Another vigil was held last night as well. People in Uvalde gathered in large groups to pray and mourn the horrific shooting. One woman in attendance said she was at the school helping students evacuate.
There was 2 classrooms that I was able to help out as the shooting started, and the kids started to run everywhere. They didn't know where to go, and I was able to take kids into the funeral home because it's nearby Robb, and when I was able to help out some kids.
The woman was distraught, saying she saw kids covered in blood while she was trying to get her daughter, but couldn't because of the lockdown in place at the time. One man who lives in Indiana but was raised in Uvalde said he can't believe something like this could happen in his hometown. And this morning, we're learning more about those victims today as their heartbroken families speak out about their sudden loss. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
We're learning more about the lives cut short in America's second deadliest elementary school shooting, including Eliana Cruz Torres. Her grandfather speaking to ABC News last night, desperate for answers.
What's been the hardest part today, Mr. Cruz?
Well, not knowing whether my granddaughter is alive or not.
Now learning that uncertainty has become a painful reality.
And fourth grade special education teacher Eva Mireles, who was with the Uvalde School District for 17 years.
Audrey Garcia's daughter, Gabby, was a student of hers.
Miss Mireles, that kind of teaching, that hands-on, doing whatever she could do to help Gabby, I mean, that's the kind of thing she did every day.
10-year-old Javier Lopez also among the 19 students killed. According to his cousin, Javier's mom was at an awards ceremony a few hours before the shooting with no clue that she'd never see her son again. Javier's grandmother speaking to ABC by phone.
It's so hard. You send your kids to school and thinking they're going to make it back home, and they're not.
Amarillo Garza just turned 10 2 weeks ago. Her father telling ABC, "My little love is now flying high with the angels above. Please don't take a second for granted. Hug your family. Tell them you love them." And cousins Annabelle Rodriguez and Jackie Casares, both 10 years old in the same fourth grade classroom, also among the victims.
We're still waiting to learn more about the rest of the victims. Most are believed to be in third and fourth grade. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News a number of them are children of Customs and Border Patrol agents. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Now, in the midst of this tragedy, people from across Texas and here in the Basin are coming together to send help to the Uvalde community. ABC Big 2's Tatiana Battle joins us live now in studio. And Tatiana, there are several ways that people can help those impacted by this tragedy.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, Matt. After the tragic mass shooting yesterday, local groups are finding ways to help those affected by the deadly incident. Now, several organizations have teamed up to send help to the victims and families of those impacted by the tragedy in Uvalde through crowdfunding pages like GoFundMe under the name Texas Elementary School Shooting Relief. Today and tomorrow, the Ector County Sheriff's Office are collecting donations to send to the Uvalde community. And for people who are interested, you can drop off any donations at the Sheriff's Office. Deputies are also collecting monetary donations through tomorrow morning that will be hand-delivered to the Uvalde Sheriff on Friday. In San Antonio, legal services are calling on attorneys to volunteer their services to those impacted by the shooting. Volunteer attorneys will provide legal services to victims and their families, and licensed attorneys in Texas can send their availability through June, an area of practice, to the email address uvalderesponse@sa-lsa.org. Now, people can also donate funds online to the Community Foundation of Texas Hill Country, a San Antonio nonprofit that started a relief fund for victims and families affected by this tragedy. Reporting live in studio, Tatiana Battle, ABC Big 2 News.
Thank you, Tatiana. Now, to help students and families during this difficult time, counseling services are being offered at Uvalde CISD in person and over the phone. Now, to stay up to date with the latest developments on this shooting and for ways that you can show support for the community in mourning, head to yourbasin.com.